Hi, my name is Dylan Conger, and I am a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties here in Bozeman, Montana. I became a realtor about 4 years ago, beginning of 2017, after going to college straight out of high school for a bioengineering degree. I ended up only staying for a semester, paid way too much money to take general courses, and essentially decided to go back to my hometown of Great Falls, where I got my associate's degree geared towards engineering, a little bit cheaper than I could have got it here at MSU. And then my plan was to come back, finish out my engineering degree, and get a career. And in the process, I actually started a business doing labor and flipping homes with realtors in Great Falls. And when I decided to move back to Bozeman, they told me that I would be a good fit for the sales side of things, which at first I took a little bit of offense to. How do you have personality of a salesman? But after a few years, I couldn't agree more. I definitely consider it to be more of a service and educator job rather than a true sales job. Because I just help educate my clients and the general public. And then if they want to buy a home, the home tends to sell itself. Um, it's definitely a hard industry to get started in. When I started, I was 21, didn't know what a mortgage was, and just decided it was something that I was going to do. I remember I was working a landscaping job at a billionaire's house at the time, and I one night was searching online and saw that a real estate agent popped up not only as top 10 jobs that people love their jobs. It was one of those lists, but also one of the top 10 jobs that provides the most freedom, which is one of the biggest reasons that I got into it. I found that in the other jobs that I had been working throughout the years, if I became more efficient or better at my job, usually rather than getting a pay increase or moving up the ladder in any way, it meant that I just got more work because I could handle it. And so between, wanting more freedom, and wanting more rewards for that harder work, I started looking into owning my own business. And because it truly is, we're independent contractors under a company, but you do fully own your own business. It's your responsibility whether you make it or break it. And it that being said, it does have one of the cheaper startup costs out of any small business anywhere. There's very little overhead. Um, the day to day honestly really does vary. It's very dependent on each individual person, each office, the market. There's so many different factors, but essentially my day consists of answering emails and phone calls usually first. It seems like when you're working or when you're not working is when you get the most people trying to reach out to you, especially if you go on vacation. They say if you're slow in real estate, take a vacation because everybody will immediately start calling you as soon as you're getting ready to board a plane. So, first thing, I'll respond to those missed calls and emails, and then I normally spend some time nurturing my existing clients. I'll do about an hour of marketing a day, an hour of what we call lead generation, looking for different leads for new clients in other ways, following up with leads that aren't necessarily clients yet that would fall into the nurture category, but just continuing to provide value and information to people. And then I'll have some time throughout the day that I set aside specifically for showing properties and writing contracts. I do try to do some continuing education every day. Sometimes that falls on the back burner and then I knock it all out in one day. And then just general organization in the business, making sure my taxes and my finances are playing out the way that they're supposed to. there really is so many different moving parts in real estate that no 2 days are the same, which is just another reason that I love it. There's definitely more than one way to make money in real estate. For instance, I'm obviously a salesperson. I sell uh, real estate both on the listing side and the buying side, but I also do home valuations, not only for my clients, but for the general public and for banks that don't need a full blown appraisal. So I'll go look at a property, take notes about specific features that it has, and then look at what other properties that are similar have sold for in the past and come up with a market value for it. Definition of value is just what a willing and able buyer is willing to pay at a given time, but you can kind of predict the psychology of those things using a market analysis approach, sometimes combined with a cost approach. And then if you really want to get into the nitty gritty for like a rental property, you can do an income approach as well. That's essentially it in the nutshell. Like I mentioned before, there's a low overhead overall. Most offices will charge you a desk fee or some type of fee for what they do for you on their end when it comes to marketing, providing leads, etc. But overall, I think my first year I paid about $2,000 for all the licensing and classes and whatnot to get started. It is a 60-hour course, either in person or online. I did mine online. The in-person one, I think, is 5 12-hour days of learning, and I cannot sit in a classroom that long. So I think I took 3 months to do my 60-hour course online at my own pace. And then there's both a state and national test. They are hard tests, these state regulated tests, especially. A lot of the information isn't used in your day-to-day work, but just kind of get you started, weed out some people. One of the highest producing agents that I know actually ended up taking the test 8 times. I believe I was lucky enough to pass it on the first time, but give yourself a grace period. And then the average time that it takes for people to start making sales in real estate is about 6 months to a year. I had one sale my first year. I remember I was serving tables at a high-end restaurant as well, and then working 40 hours a week trying to get the real estate business started. And I had one sale my first year, about 8 months in, small Forest Service cabin lease. I think I made $1,000 in real estate my first year. So definitely have some money set aside, and have expectations that you won't make a full salary. A lot of people do it part-time with other jobs. I will say that it's hard to truly get good at something if you're just doing it on the side. But once you get established, you can always back off your time and not spend as much time on certain aspects if you have something else going on. There are about 1,600 MLS users, which the MLS is just a database that us realtors use to list properties. And of those 1,600, about 200 are appraisers and non-agents, essentially. And then of that 1,400 remaining, stat that I heard, I believe it was from 2019 actually, about half of them had 0 or 1 sale in 2019, which just goes to show, how many people are just maintaining their license, either to sell family properties, friends' properties. Maybe they're not going out and looking for business quite as much. But keep in mind, it's 100% dependent on how far you want to take it. There truly is no ceiling that you can't overcome. You could form your own team, your own brokerage. Typically in an office, especially when you start off, you split your income with the company. So a listing agent will go to a seller and they will set a commission not only for themselves but for the buyer's agent. And we're not allowed to say what's typical, but if you do decide to become an agent, you can kind of set whatever you want. But if you're set too high above what everybody else is, obviously you're not going to get as much business. If you're set too low, you're not making enough money to kind of compete with everybody else. But then of that half of the commission that is paid by the seller out of the proceeds of a sale, you typically have to give, anywhere from 50 to 10% of that to the company for the services that they provide, trainings, tools, contact management, etc. I don't know. I've been in about 4 years now. I absolutely love it. I was a little bit hesitant at first, but now, especially in this market, have a hard time picturing doing anything else. I'm excited to see what the future holds. Hope that this was informative and maybe convince some of you to look into it. But regardless, just pick what's right for you. I think there's an idea that you have to buy into the traditional cycle of living, and that is not always the case. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. I'll get off my soapbox. Y'all have a good day.